Welcome to this week's episode of MOAR Tech. I'm your host, Michael Amorgan, and this week we're going to be talking about not the fact that, Apple apparently is region locking their iPhones, or the fact that WhatsApp has an exploit out there that's been out there for like a year. Thank you for following and welcome to the cookie pack, dude. WhatsApp has had this exploit out there for like a year now. Oh, thank you for hosting as well. That allows people to quote what someone's saying and alter who is saying it, even if they're not actually a part of the group or anything like that. And hey, revolutionary, thank you. Let's see, what was that? Thank you for the host. Ooh, you have AirPods. You're going to, AirPods aren't that bad. It's HomePods that are going to be the interesting topic that we're going to be talking about. But so yeah, this whole WhatsApp thing, like, they can change up who says it, and they can even change up the message to make it seem like you said something that you actually didn't. And this is something that's been unpatched for like a year now. And thanks for multitasking there, Gary. Yeah, this thing's been out there for like a year now. And when you really think about it, like, this is dangerous within itself. And the fact that Facebook hasn't patched it, it's kind of curious. But that's not what we're going to be talking about today. Though I will answer TV Raiders Beast's question about, are AirPods dangerous? This is actually something that we talked about on a past episode. We actually had an episode just talking about Bluetooth earpieces and stuff like that, and wireless signals, and how that really affects the brain, or if it really even affects the brain. And the short answer for that is there's not enough research, because these things are still fairly new. We don't know the long-term effects, but for now, that's the way how we're moving. It's either going to be USB-C tethered, my 3.5 millimeter jack tethered, or Bluetooth. And the truth of the matter is, even if you don't use them, there's so much other radio waves that are circulating around you that it almost doesn't matter. So, and so we don't know if they can give cancer. There were some people that thought that they caused bone growth in the skull, which I think was disproven. Don't quote me on that one though. But this just, if you're gonna get an issue from it, you're probably gonna get the issue regardless. It's just you have them a little bit closer. I mean, yeah. So today's topic though is going to be about whether these smart devices can listen into you. Exactly, everyone dies. And this really came about because, you have these devices inside your home, and people feel that they're always listening to you because they can always pick up whenever you say something. And that's technically true. They have a passive listening feature where they're listening for their beginning command, like a hey G, hey A, hey S, meaning like Google, Alexa, Siri, Bixby, that kind of thing. And once it picks up on that, it turns over into an active listening mode for any questions or commands that the person may have. Ooh, you're going to want to listen to this then. So what happens then is people start to wonder, like, do I secretly have an FBI agent listening in to me and my conversations? Or is someone else listening in or whatnot? And, people started to raise that question. Which song? You mean Despacito? Oreo? Which Oreo song? But yeah, so this question's been around and been asked since from 2017, and it never really got answered properly until earlier this year, April of earlier this year actually. And that's when news broke that employees in Amazon were transcribing users' Alexa recordings. It cut out. No, what I was asking was what song were you talking about? But yeah, so there was also a whistleblower that, I think it was last month, said that Apple was also listening on smart speaker snippets, meaning like certain certain audio clips. And I could put on the song Oreo after the show. I don't want to put it on during the show because we put this as a podcast. And then we also don't want it to have a copyright hit. So while Amazon has that happening, Apple has their own like little snippeting listens happening as well. Then we also have the fact that a Google worker decided to, and that's my phone trying to give me, no, I'm not. Here's what I found on the web. What did you say that I said? Worker the same. That's Google Assistant right there for you folks. But yeah, a Google Assistant, a Google worker leaked 1,000 audio recordings from Google Assistant devices or Google Home or Google Home stuff like that. So, a lot of people then came up like, what's going on? Why are we finding out that these things are happening? And these companies are saying that, there are particular reasons why this is happening. Either we want to improve the service and actually make sure that we're putting in the correct words, or it's a matter of, making sure that sometimes we're seeing where these things are canceled, and so we're trying to get the correct commands or this, that, and the next, and it's one thing with them. But the fact of the matter remained that none of them were upfront about what was happening. And that's the problem. So now we're noticing that things like Apple's policy notes that certain information, such as your name, contacts, music you listen to, and searches, is sent to Apple servers using encrypted protocols. You could hear it if you want to listen to it during the show, but I can't play it during the show. I can play it after the show. That's what I'm saying. And most users likely didn't consider that certain information included intimate moments or illegal transactions, or the fact that a man was abusive to his wife and that was recorded and actually ended up being placed in a court as evidence. Like, legit. They took the recording from Alexa and used that as evidence in a court of law. Now, Google has suspended this practice in Europe because, well, they kind of were forced to, because the regulators weren't happy with them. I think most of these companies, the regulators weren't happy with, so I think most of them have pretty much been forced to stop this process inside the European Union. Now, apparently they slapped Google with a 3-month ban on listening to recordings. Apple halted their review worldwide. We're not sure if these are permanent or temporary, by the way. And while Apple's saying that it's conducting a thorough review, Amazon's announcing that it's updating information we provide to customers to make our practices more clear. Now, how do you stop these kind of things from happening? Like, how do you not have your information sent off to a human reviewer in that kind of sense? That's, I think, the next step that I think a lot of people are would be curious about. So for Alexa, there's actually and almost all of them have very specific instructions. So for Alexa, you first open up the Amazon Alexa app and click on settings. Then you go to Alexa privacy. Then manage how your data improves Alexa. There's going to be a screen that comes up with an updated version of the policy, and at the bottom there's going to be an unchecked box labeled help improve Amazon service and develop new features. If that's unchecked, that means it's not recording. If it's checked, you can uncheck it and it will stop recording your information. But it still doesn't mean that it won't be uploaded. It just means it won't go to the human people. How to stop well, I shouldn't say how to stop it, but how to delete your recordings. Because you can't really stop the recording, but you can consistently delete them. Is that same settings, Alexa privacy, and then you go to review voice history. And there you can choose to delete specific recordings or delete throughout a certain time span or period in time. And so you can pretty much delete everything if you want it. I think most people would feel a little happy with that one. Now, Apple is a little different with Siri and the HomePods and stuff like that. Because contractors aren't going to be listening to Siri, like recordings like that, but more snippets, and even that's now been placed, like I said, on a pause, or at least a stop worldwide, at least for right now. We don't really have to worry about that, but there's still those previous recordings that were there, and they currently store those recordings for up to 6 months on their servers, and then it removes the user IDs from the copies, but the recording could still then linger on the server for up to 2 years. The only way to really stop that is to disable Siri, which I don't think many of you actually want to do. But if you did, then on iOS, you would go into settings, then Siri and search, then turn off listen for hey, that command. And then press side button for Siri. You're going to get a notification asking if you want to disable it. You click turn off Siri, and then you go to settings, general, keyboard, and turn off enable dictation. Yeah, you're going to have to turn off dictation for that one as well, folks. If you're on Mac, like a desktop or a laptop, then you have to go to System Preferences, Siri, and then turn off Enable Ask Siri. After that, then go to System Preferences, Dictation, and turn off dictation there as well. Neither of those are really good options, in my opinion. Like, there should be something extra, but that's what you have. So, point goes to Amazon for that one. When it comes to Google, though, it's kind of the same, actually. You actually have to go into the Google Home app, go to Account, then More Settings, your data in the Assistant, Voice and Audio Activity, and there you can just deactivate voice and audio recording using the toggle on that screen. But, that means that, it's gonna not be able to really learn you anymore. Now, all of this is good. All of this is good. I will say that here and now. Like, the fact that you can now have means to stop these things from happening is good. The methods that you have to go through, or the means that they disable in that sense, is not good. But I don't think they have it to the point where they can only have active listening at a command and not have passive listening. And I think that's part of the problem, because it's going, unless they continuously delete it, and then even then it's going to try and record your active commands, unless that is an option that I think they should actually have, to say after, and this is something that you can set, however a period of time, delete audio recordings or history or whatever it is that you searched or axed or anything like that. Um, whew. Say you just got a call from Apple. What did they say? Saying that you're the hacker. You're a hackers. Ah, boy. So, in all honesty, the true risk that comes from something like this is, something like a murder investigation in which the police ask for all the recordings from the homes, Amazon Echo, for example, or HomePod, or Google Google Speaker, or Mini, or Home, or whatever it is. And that's a level of privacy, because you normally would be able to feel free to speak whatever you want in your own home. And then here you have this thing that's recording you and can then be taken and used against you, something that you bought and brought into your own home. This does not mean that this information is just widely available, typically, unless it's leaked, like what happened with Google's 1,000 audio recordings, which, in all truth, with the amount of Google Assistant stuff that's out there, I'm surprised that number is as low as that actually is. Because if you really think about it, Google Assistant is the most popular version out there. Like Amazon Alexa is by far the second. And Apple HomePods, there's like so few people actually using it. Like there's actually a report that says that they account for just 5% of an estimated 76 million smart speaker installation base in the United States for the second quarter of 2019. And that has been, their numbers have been about the same from June 2018 from the way how it looks. Actually, sorry, no, I'm wrong. It's Amazon Echo that's actually number one. And it's Google Home that's number two. Google Home is slowly increasing. TV Reader says that I don't know what to do. I'm only 12. Bro, no joke, because they said swearing. Although people are getting banned, they called me. I'm a hacker. I don't know what to do. I'm only 12. Are you Apple angry? Dude, if you're 12, you probably shouldn't be on Mixer. Like, they probably have an age restriction right there. And you should probably be careful about that. If you're 12 as well, then you do have certain rights as a minor. But I'm pretty sure they're joking. Like, I highly doubt they called you. Like, and no, I don't work at Apple. Now, I do want to actually say that, don't worry about this so much. Paranoia is going to be there. Yes, these things technically listen to you. Yes, there are some recordings. But the amount of people that actually get to listen to them, if any at all, then is so low. Because remember, there's like, in the United States alone, there's 76 million of these devices around that have been sold. And there just simply aren't enough people. They probably listen for certain keywords that they have problems with and they want to try and correct. They're not necessarily listening for you in particular. Unless something like what I mentioned happens, and then they can maybe put a warrant into whatever company, and then it's on that company to actually either say yes or no. With Amazon, they did it. Amazon is actually working with the police a lot, to the point where if you have an Amazon Ring, which is kind of like something that helps you answer the door and see who's at your door and stuff like that, they actually are working with the police to pull that information from your Amazon Ring without a warrant to see who was at your door, like the time of day people would have rang your doorbell, all that kind of stuff that Ring has access to. The police would then have access to without a warrant. So keep that in mind. So therein lies the whole thing of privacy versus convenience, which is always going to be a pretty big topic, or no matter where you are in the world, because the more convenience you have, the less privacy you're going to have, more than likely, and the more privacy you have, the less convenience you're going to have. So if you're someone that's very private, you probably want to get rid of these things or disable those features and just kind of live with what you have. But yeah, that's actually it for that topic. Before we do end, I do want to make mention that, one of the things that we also did not talk about was the fact that Apple and Google, both within the span of 2 days, released, I believe, their final builds for their next version of mobile OS. So for iOS, that would be the 5th public version. The 6th developer version was earlier on. And then Google released their 6th developer version, which both of them should be releasing the final builds live, I believe, in September. Apple, I believe, is saying September 17th, which is the day after my birthday, which is not bad. And I don't have a date for Android, so unfortunately I can't give you that. But there are other betas out there as well. There's the iPad OS 13 public beta that came out available today, and tvOS public beta that also came out. And there's a lot of changes that's going to be happening with both of these types of OSs from their previous counterparts and versions. So you'll want to keep an eye out for that. We'll probably do a future episode talking about the differences and stuff like that. Sure, they can probably do that, but they're probably not actually going to. The chances of them is going to be very, very slim. But I do have a request to play a song, so folks, I am going to cut this show here and say, don't forget, Esports Wrap is on every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our sister show, MOAR Tech, is on Thursdays. I got that actually mixed up. Our sister show, Esports Wrap, is on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this show is always on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to be a part of the conversation, we're on Twitter at MOAR_cookies. And if you want to be in our Discord, it's linked below. Or if you're in the Bahamas, we also have a Bahamas Gamers and Otaku Discord. Just give a search for that one and you'll probably find it. So that's it for this episode of MOAR Tech. Until next time, guys, take care.